About a month ago, I made my updated video for 2021 looking at some of the worst footballers who are reported to earn in excess of £100,000 a week. Of course, feel free to check that video out if you haven't already, but I think I've got an equally interesting and altogether rather more complimentary video in store for you all today. Unlike the worst players on under £100,000 a week video, this isn't one that I've done every year, though I have made it once in the past, and it included the likes of Joao Felix and Luka Jovic, both of whom earn far more than £25,000 a week now. Anyhow, I thought it'd be an interesting video to make an updated version of, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. It was incredibly difficult whittling it down to 7, and I will offer very honourable mentions to the likes of Callum McGregor, Bruno Petkovic, and Dominik Livakovic, among others. But without further ado, here are some of the best footballers on the planet who are rumoured to earn less than £25,000 a week. Claudinho. 2 years ago, few people outside of Brazil had heard of Claudinho. Actually, scrap that. 2 years ago, few people in Brazil had heard of Claudinho, who was a diminutive, unfancy number 10 who had been released by Corinthians and had failed to make an impact at Ponte Preta. He was sent out on loan 4 times, 3 of which were to Red Bull-owned clubs, Red Bull Brazil twice and Red Bull Bragantino once. The youngster didn't really set the world alight in Sao Paulo, but Bragantino was still willing to cough up the roughly $500,000 required to make the deal a permanent one. Since then, Claudinho has been a revelation, and I mean almost instantly. Capable of playing anywhere within a forward line, but at his best picking up little pockets of space or arriving late into the box, Claudinho has been at the heart of everything that RB Bragantino have done right this season. Though last season was impressive, this season the 24-year-old has taken it to another level, and he's now rumoured to be on the verge of a first call-up to the national team. With 17 goals and 6 assists from 34 appearances this term, it's little wonder that Claudinho is being linked with a move to Europe. Nor is it any great surprise that the club he's being linked with is fellow Red Bull-owned outfit RB Leipzig in the Bundesliga. No doubt Claudinho will earn well in excess of £25,000 a week either if or when that move happens, but right now he is reported to still be on the same roughly £2,000 a week deal that he signed in the summer of 2019, before his reputation went stratospheric, making him the lowest reported earner in this entire 7. Emi Buendia. Staying with a South American, but this time with one who is already playing in Europe, I think just about everyone is well aware that Emi Buendia is too good for the Championship. The Argentine, who moved to Spain at the age of 13 to sign for Real Madrid, played a key role in Norwich City's promotion to the Premier League, and he was probably among the most eye-catching of their forward players in the top flight as the Canaries got relegated. Despite a broad consensus that both Buendia and his teammate Todd Cantwell were good enough to remain in the division despite Norwich's relegation, the Canaries' sky-high asking prices meant that neither player got a move. Consequently, it is little wonder that Norwich are now flying high at the top of the Championship table and are seemingly on course for a fairly comfortable Premier League return this season. That means Buendia will likely be playing Premier League football next season, whether it is in Norfolk or elsewhere. Arsenal's January interest was well documented, but you can bet the price tag will only increase with promotion. One thing is for sure, if he is to remain at Norwich, he will want to agree a new deal, with his current one reportedly worth only £18,000 a week. I mean, I'd be chuffed with that, just so we're clear, but the feisty and ever-inventive 24-year-old could probably earn 4 or 5 times that amount at another club. Jeremy Bogger. Ivorian international Jeremy Bogger is another man who has played in the Premier League, though he didn't leave quite the same mark as Buendia. He might have done had he played more than once though, with his solitary Blues appearance coming against Burnley on the opening day of the 2017-18 season. To make matters worse, Bogger was substituted after just 18 minutes when Gary Cahill was given his marching orders and replaced with a centre-back. Bogger spent 9 years at Stamford Bridge in total, though most of that was spent in the development squad and out on loan. Being deemed surplus to requirements in West London certainly isn't any reflection of one's talents. Just ask Romelu Lukaku, Mohamed Salah, and Kevin De Bruyne. And just like Salah, Bogger left the Blues in a move to Serie A. He joined well-run Serie A minnows Sassuolo, who have punched above their weight ever since he arrived. Bogger has played a big part in that success, hitting double figures from the left flank last season, and even prompting 1 or 2 rumours of a return to Chelsea, or one of England's other so-called top 6 teams. Bogger is an exciting footballer to watch, with bags of flair and excellent close control. He's probably yet to hit the heights of last season on a consistent basis so far this term, but having only recently turned 24, he's still improving all the time. All things considered, a reported salary of just £16,000 a week is way below what he could earn at a top-end championship team, let alone one competing in Europe, which is where he'll hope to be heading if or when he leaves Sassuolo. Carlos Vinicius. Tottenham Hotspur paid just under £3 million to take Carlos Vinicius on loan from Benfica this season, with the option to sign him on a permanent basis for the not insignificant fee of £14 million at the end of the season. It's a fair bit lower than the €100 million asking price that the Portuguese giants had originally plonked on the Brazilian's head, but it is still a fair amount, and it reflects the fact that he scored 24 goals in the Portuguese capital during his debut campaign last season. Since arriving in England, Vinicius has had a very mixed record, struggling for goals and game time in the Premier League, whilst putting in some eye-catching performances against admittedly slightly less formidable opposition in the various cup competitions. Vinicius may not yet be viewed as a like-for-like replacement for Harry Kane, almost no one in world football would be, but he is still a real handful if you play to his strengths. A big, strong centre-forward who can come deep, hold the ball up, or play a little further upfield on the shoulder of the last man, Vinicius has good feet and a left foot which can generate real power and accuracy. With all that being said, you might think he'd be on more than £25,000 a week, but apparently not, or not yet at least. The Brazilian has a reported salary of £17,500 a week, which is a lot less than his next contract will net him. Pitso. With most of the players in this seven, their earning potential is still way out ahead of them. The likes of Bogger and Emi Buendia could easily end up earning £100,000 a week with a couple of really good seasons, but that probably isn't the case for Benfica midfielder Pitso, who is already 31. A player who I've admired for a long time, Pitso's 2019-20 season, that is to say, last season, didn't get anywhere near the recognition that it deserved. In a truly remarkable campaign, the Portuguese international scored 30 goals and made 23 assists from midfield. Were he a few years younger, I've no doubt a whole host of clubs would be queuing up with big money offers, but such is life that at 31, some will consider you to be on the way out. Everyone else's loss is most assuredly Benfica's gain though, and they have been reaping the rewards of having Pitso in their squad for 7 seasons now. An incredibly versatile and intelligent footballer with magnificent technique, for one reason or another, things just didn't work out for him in La Liga. Now he is very much the star of the show back in the Premier League though, and I must admit that I did a bit of a double take upon reading his supposed salary, since it doesn't really reflect that fact. Pitso's current contract, which he signed in the summer of 2019, is rumoured to be worth just over £23,000 a week. There are fourth-choice goalkeepers in the Premier League who earn more. Academy players at top 6 clubs who you've never heard of and may never even make it in the sport as well. This is a man who had 53 goal contributions from midfield last season, and if that figure is correct, quite frankly, his agent wants shooting. Mourinho. We're a bit Brazilian heavy in this 7, but that's alright, and indeed, it makes perfect sense, since particularly domestic-based South Americans tend to earn a fraction of what they could in Europe when they stay closer to home. Mourinho is an unusual player in some respects, and he's one that I've talked about on this channel a few times in recent months. Rather like Claudinho, up until a few years ago, no one was really talking about him, and for good reason. However, even more unusually in his case, Mourinho is 30 years old. A lot of us associate Brazilian forward players and flair players with peaking young and being over the hill by 30, but like all stereotypes, there are many exceptions. Few more emphatic than Mourinho, who, other than impressing with Vitória in 2016, had never really set the world alight in the Brasilerao before signing for Santos. A bit of a journeyman, Mourinho has had 13 different clubs and previously enjoyed a brief stint in the Chinese Super League. Since signing for Santos though, he has reached heights few felt he was capable of. He was probably the outstanding player in the Brasileirao this season, and arguably in all of South America. 17 goals and 7 assists from 27 appearances in the league alone tells a story of its own, for a left-footed right winger who can beat players, cross the ball, and bag a hatful of goals. Despite his age, it seems likely he'll get a call-up at some stage, and with a reported weekly wage of just £7,000, there is not a chance that he wasn't featuring. Pau Torres. Top spot was a tough one, and I must admit none of this 7 is necessarily in a fixed order. They're just 7 really good players from a list of even more good players who are set to earn less than £25,000 a week. Having said that, from the names that my research threw up, I think a good case could be made for Pau Torres being the best player on earth who earns less than Tom Ince apparently makes on loan at Luton Town in the Championship. Capped 7 times by Spain already, having only recently turned 24, it seems as though Torres has it all. A towering presence at 6'4", he's quick, strong, and formidable in the air. He also possesses a first-class defensive nous when it comes to sniffing out danger. He defends on the front foot, he's really comfortable on the ball, and he can pick out a pass. It almost sounds as though I'm describing Franz Beckenbauer, so I will temper all of these plaudits by saying I don't yet think he's as good a centre-back as my golden boy, Jules Koundé, who earns too much to feature. But I do think he's likely to become a regular for Spain as centre-back over the years. Already linked with everyone from Manchester United to Barcelona, heaven knows how Barca plan to pay for him. One thing is for sure, wherever Torres ends up, even if that were to be just agreeing a new deal at Villarreal, his next deal will see him multiply his current pay packet by several times. In fact, it's possible that Torres' next contract will add a naught to his contract, since he is currently rumoured to earn roughly £13,700 a week, which is still close to £750,000 a year, so I wouldn't lose any sleep worrying about him, but for a player of his talent, playing for a top 6 team in La Liga, he's getting done dirty at the moment. So that is it for today's 7 and today's video, but thank you all as ever for watching. Do give us a like if you enjoyed the video, it means a lot. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for HITC Sevens. You can also find me on Twitter or Instagram by the username @HITC Sevens on both, should you wish to do so.